listening to AchieveRadio.com. A new drummer for a new awakening.
Across the realms and around the world, welcome to Outside the Box. Tonight, your host and vessel of spirit is Nancy Zilversmit. We hope that you will learn to have the strength and courage to step outside the box and dwell with spirit, and to leave the old beliefs that hold you down behind you and rediscover your spirituality in new ways. Welcome. It is June 10th, 2015, and this show is brought to you by www.sanctuaryofsacredspace.com. For those of you who are watching the video tonight, I do not have my studio setting up. You are in my office, and this is usually where I do broadcast, but I usually do block it off for the radio show. I decided to try opening it up, seeing how the color looked, because we've switched some of the lighting around, and it no longer looks like I'm under a black light with the natural lighting. So it's a good time of year, and we've added some lights in the room. There are actually 7 lights going at the moment, just to get the right color of the room. So you are in my office today. This is the classroom you're seeing. On the other side, I have the drum wall and all the other instruments that I use. I have the eBay area, which is in front of me on both sides. You can't see that. But I do run both of these out of the same office. This is my classroom, this is my reading room, and my healing room. So I do a lot of different things. If you are interested, go to www.sanctuaryofsacredspace.com and see what kind of services I do offer. I also offer them via Skype. Presently in events right now, I am only teaching a tarot class. We're in the 4th week right now. I do have it's a small private class, and I am teaching former students who are allowed to drop in and brush up on their skills and pick up some advanced techniques. And the classroom for that is not formal, because we do the regular tarot teaching, and then we have spirit steps in the room, and everybody can feel it, and everybody knows what's going on. And a lot of not only reading but channeling and spirit messages come through. So it's very heavily attended by spirit. If you do come, if you've been in one of my previous tarot classes, the classic tarot class, you're welcome to come, and I just ask that you do a donation for that. And so it gets very busy here. Also, if you are interested in hosting a class, even though I do have a classroom here, I know I'm on the east side of the valley, and people tend to, doesn't matter what side of the valley you're on, they always tend to complain, you're too far away. I've been in Central Phoenix, West Phoenix, East Phoenix. I've been out in Mesa, Tempe, and even in Scottsdale, and even way out on the west side. And it doesn't matter where you're at, somebody's always going to complain. So if I have several different locations going at one time, that kind of lessens the complaints. But I also need to hear from you as to what you would like to learn. I had somebody just ask me, when are you going to start your new tarot class? Well, we're in the 4th week right now. It's a 12-week class. So you're just going to have to, either volunteer your place, or we can set up another time for this class when this one is finished, because it's got some time left on it yet. But I do teach a whole lot of other things, very spirit active, very spirit heavy. I do teach healing. I do teach exorcism. I do teach sound therapy, and a lot of other things. So just check out the website at www.sanctuaryofsacredspace.com. If I'm staring back and forth, if you're watching the video, you have not seen the table. It's got all my paperwork laid across it. I'm also open for doing readings today. If you are listening and would like a reading, I am open to taking time to do that. You just need to in quick or call in. on the Achieve hotlines, and the numbers or Skype. All that information is on the main page. Go to www.achieveradio.com and see how you can get a hold of me. I do not have my Facebook page up today during this, even though I do sometimes take questions from there. I gave them ample notice and moved on, and checked it earlier. So sometimes I get a lot of questions, sometimes I don't. But if you are a listener today and you would like some answers to something or a message from the other side or just a spirit reading, I will be doing that. And I pretty much am able to do that every week. If sometimes I announce it and sometimes I don't. So today we are going to look at some things that are going on in the news, and then we are going to continue with gratitude, part 2. And I also have some little stories, always have stories, about things that go on amongst myself and others, and the experiences that we do have. Okay, in the news today, and I always try and pick up some things that are either religion-based, spiritual-based, entertainment-based, what's going on in the world. And you get a lot of strange things sometimes. Recently, in the last couple days, a gentleman named Keith Conley, he applied to GoDaddy as an engineer, and he got an email back from them. And he didn't read the whole thing. He just read the first part of the letter that, they weren't going to take him. He was, thank you for your application type thing. And, he was not hired. What he didn't notice at the time until several months later, when he was going through his email archives and looking through things and deleting things and just reading as to what they were, he came across an attachment to that. If you read past the original email, there was another attachment of stuff written there, and it was somebody's review. They had looked through social media and checked into his background. This is one job that actually did it, and they also looked at some of his other accounts, and he said that he was discriminated because of what he had online, and if I can find it here. Oh, here it is. The added note read, about Keith. He is great for the job in skills, but he looks worse for the wearer. Do we really want an obese Christian? And is that what our new image requires of us? Now, GoDaddy is saying that this never happened. It's not true. But this guy's got the email. I mean, email's email. It's a legitimate legal document. So he's fighting it. He's saying that since it's past the 300-day the 300-day limit where you are allowed to sue for something like this. It's past that limit because this was originally sent to him in 2014, and it was just recently that he went through it and found that there's the second half to this email. So what he wants is an apology from GoDaddy. He wants an apology, and GoDaddy says, like hell, we're not. And if he keeps it up, we're going to sue his ass, basically. So his response is that he feels like he's being bullied into being quiet about this, and he also said that he is a Bible-based Christian. He also teaches in a Christian family help center. So it's just like, he claims that because of his religious practices, he was not hired, and the fact that he's overweight. But he says, basically he's going to be working in a back office. He's never going to be seen by the public. He's not the face of GoDaddy, and who is going to see him anyway? So he's a software engineer. So yes, discrimination comes in all different ways, and be careful what you put out on social media. I'm not careful about what I put out on social media because I'm basically retired other than what I do in my own home office. I don't go out to get hired by other people. But then we go into some good news in southern China. Southern China, they have a very old Buddhist temple out there that's like 1,500 years old, and they were looking for uh, people to work with this temple, this 1,500-year-old temple, and they put out an advertisement that they were offering 8 positions for roles in IT maintenance, user interface design, application operation, and new media communication. The ad reads, half a month in the forest, relaxing your nerves, and half a month in the city. Easy, flexible, full of freedom. What are you waiting for? Our Buddha needs you. They have had over 4,000 people with media experience that have applied, and that was only within a few days, and they are still getting applications coming in. It's been so successful that the temple has had to put out a lot of extra effort just to go through the sudden influx of applications. And you've got to understand there's only 8 positions, but everybody wants it. So it's very nice that sometimes there is positive out there. And this is in southern China. This is in southern China. I'm probably going to massacre the name Donghua Zen Temple in southern China. So, yes, if you want to be in southern China, you better be able to speak Chinese and have the right qualifications. Going into entertainment. There is a group called 1 Million Moms, and they're petitioning against Fox television because Fox Television is going to release a new TV series. I'll tell you what, it has a very interesting trailer if you look it up out on the internet. The upcoming show is called Lucifer. No release date yet, and the Christian groups are disapproving of the devil's depiction because it is not biblical. It's not biblical. So yes, it does have a very interesting trailer, and it looks like it's not drama. It looks like there's a lot of comedy in it too. But the 1 Million Moms, they're a part of the American Family Association, and it is a Christian faith group. They are using their own website to launch a petition to have the TV show halted. They're saying that it's a mischaracterization of Satan, and it says that the Fox's decision to air the show mocks their religion. So, yeah. And they say that it's got inappropriate scenes in it. From what I saw of the trailer on this, it's no more inappropriate scenes than you would see on CSI, NCIS, Criminal Minds. Nothing more than that at all, except for the main character is Lucifer. So it's based on a DC Comics series, and that shares the same name. It's the devil who, in the series, is called Lucifer Morningstar. He's bored with hell, and he leaves hell. He decides he's going to retire to the earth, and he's going to go to Los Angeles, the city of angels, and he opens up a club called the Lux. And what he does doesn't please God at all, who sends an archangel after him to try and convince him to come back to hell. But Lucifer is portrayed enjoying his life in retirement with food, parties, wine, and until a brutal murder of a female pop star happens outside his club. Now, they don't tell you everything in this article, but if you watch the trailer, he's got a relationship going on with this woman, and he was with her when she got shot. She got shot very badly, and he supposedly didn't. But being immortal. He wouldn't anyway. So he has the ability to draw out people's secrets. And as he says, I do not read minds, because he's asked if he's a psychic. No, I do not read minds. I didn't know that that was a requirement to be a psychic anyway. But he draws people's secrets out, and he decides he's going to help the police solve this murder of this woman that was shot while she was in his arms. So he questions his own values because he is helping the female detective who is so pure that he questions, were you sent by my father? He can't read her. He can't draw anything out of her. This is the same kind of storyline. You'll see it in several other shows out there. You'll see it on Supernatural. You'll see it on Grimm. Grimm is pretty gross. Supernatural is too, so I don't know why they're just picking on this one show. But those are successful shows. There are shows that didn't make it. Last year's Constantine, which was about an exorcist, but who drank and smoked and used drugs and everything else, but he was still an exorcist. That didn't make it into a second season. There's people trying to push that to go into a second season. So some shows make it, others don't. There's the show Forever that's out there now. There's a Sherlock Holmes out there now. And it's all about how do you read people, how do you solve things, and putting up the battle of good against evil. So they've picked out this one show, this Christian group. Their uprising against it may make it successful. It just depends how well done this is. And so they don't like the fact that they humanized the devil by making him out to be a good guy. And most Christian groups are finding that extremely offensive. So, yeah. People, you have to understand it's fiction. It's not real. It's fiction. But they're taking offense to it. We recently had, in recent last couple of weeks, we've had there were protests on both sides, and it was held at one of the mosques here. A cartoon artist came out and drew Muhammad. Ooh, okay. Well, nothing happened. There was heavy security. People had their own peaceful protests on both sides of the line, and nobody got shot. So the only thing that happened was the person who organized it had to go into hiding because he received death threats. Cannot people just leave other people alone? They didn't do anything. But religion takes things a little too far. But speaking of religion, so does politics sometimes, because the Republicans have decided that the Pope should stick to preaching and keep his nose out of, other things. Stay away from the politics, concentrate on the work to lead people to Jesus Christ and salvation. And that's what the Republican Party members of the Republican Party are pushing right now. So I think it's because there are several religion-based bills that have been introduced recently, and they're being criticized for their hypocrisy. This is the Republicans are doing this, and this Pope Francis has been one of the most open-minded religious leaders, and he's taking his issues out to the global stage. And in fact, he speaks regularly on emerging issues that have a clear position reflecting the changes of the time that have not only set him apart from the previous popes, but they've made him a reverent global voice. So, but the top aide of the Pope criticized the United States politicians, saying that they are denying climate change, they blame it on capitalism, and they've raised some eyebrows. And the Vatican's recent changes in policy regarding the Palestinian state had the Republicans all riled up, because the Republicans back the Israeli state. Okay, so they jumped all over the Pope for that. So there's an opposing view on who should be recognized and who should not be recognized, and they accepted. Well, actually, the Pope accepted an invitation from the Congress later this year. He was invited by Speaker John Bonnier of Ohio, and The whole world wants to see what the Pope has to say. So he's going to go in front of Congress and he's going to speak his mind. Meanwhile, the Republicans have been blasted for their criticism of the Pope because they've always made religion a part of their politics when it suits them. So, yeah, hypocrisy in action. In action. Okay. So, last week we started on gratitude. And let's see here. Last week we started on gratitude, part 1. We got through how to show gratitude to people who serve you, how to deal with people who challenge you, and basically how to show gratitude in general. So there's other ways of showing gratitude. There's other types of people or situations in which you can show gratitude. And showing gratitude with people you work with. Sometimes it may be a little bit different than showing people you love gratitude, okay, because it's a work situation. So when you show gratitude to people who you work with, sometimes a little handwritten note is just fine, acknowledging things that you value about them or about their work. I know that when I was working some psychic fairs in recent months, at the end of the night with whatever you were given, you were also given a little card with a note thanking you and a little gratitude, a little note of gratitude. So it helps a lot. I usually just read them and then toss them, but still, I appreciate getting them. I don't save everything. If I did, I would be a hoarder because, yeah, no, don't want to go there. I shredded a lot of things in recent years because I did live with a hoarder for a while. So I burned out 2 shredders, don't want to burn out anymore. So I don't keep a lot of paper. If it's no longer of any use to me, it's gone. So handwritten note. And little card, doesn't matter if it's a seasonal card or not. Offer to help lighten a person's workload. If you can in some way, sharing a workload, helping with paperwork or figuring out problems, so helping to offer to help share their workload. I have a daughter who's now a medical coder and biller, and she recently graduated from college, went right into a job, and that was in January. This is 6 months later, and they acknowledge with gratitude all the time the work that she does because she's a very hard worker. They had fired a bunch of people before they hired her, and they brought her in because she was newly certified out of school and she had to do her externship there. What she did was she brought all the files up to date. The previous people they fired didn't want to do the paperwork. They shoved it in a file somewhere. So the company could not collect the money that was owed to them. What she did is she found all of this stuff. She brought thousands of dollars in just during the externship, and they hired her immediately. Well, then she's been trained in several different areas while going through the coding. And they keep showing their gratitude. They keep showing their gratitude in little ways. But then they've been challenging her too. So gratitude in the challenges. She was thankful to have different forms of coding, different companies that she's had to learn. But it's basically stuff other people didn't know how to do because not everybody has gone through a college to get their coding and billing. So gratitude has been in the way of notes. It's been in the way of gift cards. It's been in the way of little parties for the people at her job. And also, she just recently was told, we're going to send you for another certification. You pass the certification, we would like you to make you the team leader manager for Arizona. 6 months. 6 months. And if you do well in something and that people show you gratitude, accept the gratitude gracefully. Now, if it's a person who challenges you and it's a negative person, send them some gratitude in a different way. We discussed that last week. But when you show gratitude in different ways, and work they do that, uh, and you not only show gratitude, but you put out the effort. You put out the effort and the expertise. And she has people come to her that say, you know what, you know how to do this, please show me how. So she does. She takes the time. She shows them how. This takes a little off of her workload once she teaches somebody else how to do something, and they are grateful for it. So, other ways of showing gratefulness: bring lunch back for somebody. Go. If somebody is just working through their lunch period, go grab them some lunch. Get it for them. Say, hey, I'm going out. You want something? Can I get you a coffee? Can I get you a cold drink? Of course, we're in Phoenix, Arizona here, and we do the triple digits, and some of us like hot coffee in the summertime anyway. But sometimes something cold for a person. It's gratitude. It's a way of showing gratitude, and it's acceptable type gratitude. Okay, it's not the sexual harassment type. It's not the saying things that might be inappropriate type. So doing something that is acceptable. If you are running a meeting and you've had to pull all your people away from their work, and they're a little anxious about that because here we go, another meeting. I've been in jobs like that when I was younger, where you'd get upset because they called another meeting. It's like a day full of meetings of crap that isn't going to do you any good. It's not going to get a whole lot done, but they want you in these meetings. And it's just like, basically, if you're going to do a meeting, be respectful of my time. I have things to do. I've worked as supervisors. I've worked as department heads, and I had a lot of things that I would have to do. And it's basically like, if you're going to run a meeting, be it short, to the point, and respect people's time. Okay, if it can be taken care of in a very short phone conference or email discussion or something, do it that way. But keep it short. If you're going to call everybody away from their job, show them some gratitude by keeping it short. Provide them with some goodies while you're at it. Everybody likes a little food. But if you're going to hand them a bunch of paperwork and give them a long lecture, give them some coffee to stay awake, and keep it short. So ask people on the job a little bit about their life, not always business. And this is outside the meetings, not always business. If you're on your break, ask them a little bit about their life. Show that you have interest in them as a person. Don't pry into their personal matters. Just ask a casual question, but don't pry into their personal life. And also, you'll get to know who is a good person to ask a little bit about their life and who to avoid, because it depends on if they're a complainer or not. If you're showing gratitude, you don't have time to complain. If you're a complainer, you don't show gratitude usually. So it goes both ways. So you have to be careful. These are challenging people. So getting the complainers, those are challenges. And we discussed that last week, what to do about these people. But show that you care a little bit about other things other than just business, just work. Be calm. Use a light voice in a stressful situation. I have had to be in stressful situations and in work situations a lot during my lifetime, and it's just like, sometimes if you are the calm person, the person who just goes with the flow, says what needs to be said, listens when you need to listen, and that a lot of time that's what people want. You can show gratitude by listening to what they have to say, and they are thankful when you do listen. Even when I do spiritual counseling, or if I teach classes, or if I do readings or whatever, with the readings I ask them first to let me read, and then they can talk about whatever they want to. Then they can unload, but I don't say unload to them directly. It's basically, you save your comments until I'm done. And if you still have any questions, if I haven't already hit on what you were concerned about, or what Spirit thinks that you are concerned about that you're not really saying or showing, then you can talk if you want to. And then and I usually don't charge extra for that little chat because I'm done with my reading. I'm just letting them unload for whatever they need. And they show gratitude for that. They are very grateful that you have given them time to talk about what they're going through, what is stressing them, and they've got somebody that'll listen. A lot of times, especially in the spiritual counseling, because I deal with entities and other things that bother people, they need to have somebody who can stay calm and not think that they're crazy, and because they're going through a very, very stressful situation, and sometimes there's multiple family members there, and I try and stay as calm and as light-voiced as I can with the situations, and usually Spirit gets very active in the room, and we do a lot by just speaking in a calm voice and listening to what's going on. Giving a person flowers at their desk, as long as it's, it's not on a personal relationship type thing. If it's a good job type little flower arrangement or something, or congratulations, your position is changing to such and such, and or sending out, like if you've got a little group of people, sending them all little bits of flowers, little arrangements, and with a sign. I've been in some call centers and cubicle farms where I've seen that happen, where they do reward people that way. They'll hang balloons, they'll put little flower things out there, congratulations, you did such and such an accomplishment, or there'll be a board that, has the big congratulations thing, or we're going to have a luncheon for you, and all the people that work in this area. This is all gratitude, and this is acceptable gratitude at work. Acceptable gratitude. And letting the boss know that they're doing a good job and contributing to the company. Sometimes the bosses are up there, they don't get told as to the fact that they're doing a good job or a wonderful job, or that they've helped through the milestones of what the business is going through, helped the business grow, or understands the work personnel and what needs to be done, and they don't get told a lot. So if you are a person who works in a job under a boss, you're not the boss, but you are under a boss, under somebody else, give them a little gratitude. And sometimes it's just a kind word. Sometimes it's letting them know that they're doing a great job. It's like the one of the previous places where I used to do readings, there was another psychic in there, and she would come over and she would say, "Wow, you do a great job," and that, for me, that was great to hear. I know that I do, I do what Spirit wants me to do when I do readings or healings or whatever. But to hear it from somebody else that does the same type of work I do, that's I'm very grateful to hear that. I hear it from the clientele, but to hear it from somebody else that does what I do, that's a rarity. Believe it or not, that's a rarity to hear that. Because most people who do what I do, they're very competitive and they don't like to share, and they don't compliment each other either. And because they're in it for the money, and it's just like, seriously, people, yeah, you have to do something different, but also give a compliment once in a while. And believe me, it's where compliments are very few. It's very gratifying to get a compliment from somebody. Okay, when somebody is having a difficult day, the best way you can give gratitude is recognize that they may need some space to figure things out. And that means just listening. Don't give advice or help if they don't want it. They just need to figure it out. And sometimes while they're talking to you, they're actually, the wheels are going, the cogs are going, and they're figuring it out by actually verbalizing, what they're having a difficult time with. So if you give them your full attention, and they're having a difficult day, that is a form of gratitude. that is definitely a form of gratitude. And just don't be the one that everybody dumps on, because that can happen too, unless that's your job. If you're a therapist or a psychologist or something, or a spiritual counselor, if that's what they come to you for, they're going to let loose of a lot of stuff. But the thing is that when they do speak, they're changing the energy of their situation. It is a form of not only expressing what they're going through, but also releasing some of that energy. And by releasing some of that energy, they're allowing newer ideas and energy to come forward. And when they do that, um, they make their own situation better. And sometimes just being in the presence of another person who listens, a person who can be non-judgmental, that helps, does worlds of wonder for them. That does worlds of wonder for them, because they know they're not going to be criticized, they know they're not going to be judged, and they know you're going to listen to what it is that they have to say. You got to remember, this makes a difference for people. This makes a difference. And if they ask for advice or help, then you can give it. But I also usually state, but it's your choice. It's your choice. You can do these things, or you can continue the way you're going. But this is what's going to happen if you go one way. This is what's going to happen if you go another way. And if it's a reading that I'm doing, I will give them the options of and I'll give them Spirit's opinion as well, because they'll be standing there giving their opinions, which may not be what my opinion would be, but it'd be some other option. And did that last night. You did that last night in the tarot class, and I have a beginner student and I have an advanced student who's been through the class before, and he's taken it because he wants to get some more experience. And of course, in a smaller class, I allow other things to happen. Spirit interacts quite a bit. And the one gentleman, he asked a question, and then they gave him the answer. Then he asked something else afterwards, and I said, "Oh, you just opened that up to all kinds of opinion," because all kinds of opinions suddenly came through. And it was, he understood what was being said. He understood what was being said, but it was all these other opinions from Spirit basically saying, if you go this way, you're going to hit the glass ceiling and you will be compressed by the people that you would associate with. He was thinking of joining some religious order, and and Spirit said our limitations of working with you will be suppressed a bit, because they will not want you to advance. You're an advanced person as far as the spirituality goes, and so they said, be careful who you associate with. But it's his choice. It's his choice. But this will happen if he goes in one direction. Something else will happen if he goes in another direction. So it's just like, Spirit will give its opinion when asked. I usually don't say anything unless I'm asked, and or pushed, because Spirit will push to get messages out also. One gentleman there's going, I don't get that way of being pushed. And I said, well, that's just the way my spirits do it. I mean, they step in, they light up with the energy, and they go, this is what we're going to say. And then the other gentleman, he gets the same kind of thing I get. The third gentleman doesn't. He just has the clairaudience and the claircognizance going. So it's just like, it's different for everybody. Everybody's got different gifts. So, yeah. You got to remember, even the little things make a big difference, especially in the workplace. Okay? One thing we forget to do sometimes is show gratitude for ourselves. Okay? We're going to get out of the workplace now. Showing gratitude for yourself. Make a list. Make a list of ways that you have impressed yourself lately. And sometimes people will really have to think about that. It's like they overthink that. What did you do today? What impressed you today? Did you get up and do everything that you thought you were going to do? Did you go beyond that? You impress yourself. Sometimes It's the way you stop and think and be thoughtful about something that you say to another person, and they get a good response back. So impressing yourself by your actions, your attitude, your words, your thoughts, and what it is that you do for yourself, what it is you do for others, but impress yourself. Make a list of how you do that. How are you impressing yourself? Okay? Um, Treat yourself to something you enjoy. A pedicure, a massage. I go to do the me time with the movie. This last week, I went with friends, and I took my crocheting with me, and I'm working on my crocheting. They invited me to come back the next day. They said bring some kind of other craft thing, some kind of other project, and I went okay. I packed up my canvases and paints because Spirit's been bothering me to paint for a while. Got 2 canvases started. They're not finished. They're in the process, but I'd work on one. While it's wet, switch it over, work on the other one, and it was stuff that Spirit had asked me to do. And it's portrayals of these spirits that is not the common way that human um, legends or stories portray them, or the mythology. And it's basically getting feedback. I don't want this in the picture. I don't want that in the picture. I've given you a vision of this other time when one of them was from 2 years ago. And it's just like basically now I know what that's referring to. It took 2 years for that to come to fruition. And how she wishes to be depicted. And the other one, same thing. How a lot of symbolism in it also. And so it's just like, okay. And then in the middle of all this, I get this other vision, and it's just like a third picture. Okay. It's not a portrait of anybody in particular. It's this square block pool of water, and you see hanging down from about the knees, a little bit above the knees, I'd say from about the thighs down to the feet, which the feet are hanging. They're just hanging down. So, and it's just like 30 or more sets of legs with feet just dangling over this water. And in the water, there's a feather floating with a ripple around it. And it's just like, okay, that's totally different. I will have to get used to doing feet. But it's a very interesting concept. So Spirit does give me concepts, and I only usually do the artwork if I get the concept, and it's usually very, very detailed. Um, so it's just like, okay, people have asked me to come and let's just do crafts or painting or whatever, and bring your own stuff. And that's fine. If we can start doing this more often, then I'm going to just get together with people and do that, and start getting some of my artwork done, which I haven't had time for in a long time. So now I'm going to do that. So I am grateful for that. I'm grateful for somebody, extending the place and the time so that I can go in and do that. And it's something I enjoy. So it's gratitude to myself, it's gratitude to Spirit, and it's also gratitude to the people that have opened their place to allow me to do that. So if somebody compliments you, thank them. Let them know that you are proud of your skill, talent, or accomplishment. Um, so a lot of people have problems taking compliments. They work so hard serving other people, and they never give back to themselves or allow others to give back to them. So it's like if somebody compliments you, don't go into long explanation of like, okay, I really like your shirt. What would be the wrong thing to say would be, oh yeah, I picked it up for $1 at the thrift store. So it's nothing really. And that what they're doing is they're putting off the compliment instead of accepting the compliment. They're not receiving that energy very well. What they need to do is just say, thank you. That's it. Thank you. I'm glad you like my shirt. Thank you. So accepting the compliment, accepting the energy that comes with it. And the same thing with your work, your artwork, your music, whatever it is that you do. If somebody compliments it, say thank you. Okay? Compliment yourself. A lot of people don't do that. They don't compliment themselves unless they're vain. You get somebody that gets up in the morning. Yeah, I'm going to compliment myself. So, but compliment yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror, write it in a journal, stick it on the fridge, jot it down somewhere. Okay? Compliment yourself. And take yourself some time, give yourself time, enjoy a passion that maybe you've been too busy to fit in. Take the time and just do it. Just do it. Take inventory of all the good things that you've done for other people in the world. Give yourself some gratitude. Give yourself some kudos, patting on the back. Write yourself a love letter. Oh my God. A lot of people don't even know how to even start with that. But write yourself a love letter. Okay? And let go of any conditions you have for being kind. Being kind to yourself. If you have conditions that you've set on yourself, oh my God, be kind to yourself. Don't put any conditions on it. And schedule a date with yourself, an afternoon or an evening where it's just all about you. Okay, that's that me time where it's all about you. Share the beauty that is you with the people around you, knowing that they're fortunate to have you in your life. And, say to yourself, I am fortunate to have you in mine. And you make the world a better place. So, yeah, do that. We have Renee on the line. Hello, Renee.
Hi, Nancy. It's a really interesting show. I like all your tidbits you do every week.
Oh, thank you. And that's gratitude. That's what we're talking about. That's gratitude. You give a compliment, you say thank you. Thank you. So what can I do for you today?
Just to give me a spirit reading, see what they have for me.
Okay. All righty. And I knew that somebody was going to call in today because they got real excited when they started having me pull cards to put up on the table.
I gave everybody a chance, but nobody called, so I said, well, then I'm going to call.
Yeah.
They want me to call.
Good. Then you're the one that they got excited about. And they said, you know what? Don't let anybody be jealous of the fact that you sometimes can just go totally bananas, okay, which means enjoy yourself doing what you're doing, and don't let people be jealous of that, because you tend to enjoy small things that other people don't enjoy, and you tend to enjoy it in abundance and draw more stuff to you when you do that. And you have the ability to also be the invisible person when you want to be. You change your roles with how you feel and the situation that you are in. But you are also looked at as the motherly figure, as the person, the go-to person for personal advice and to be the shoulder to cry on. And they're saying that when people have a lot of change going on in their life and they don't know what to do, that sometimes you're the go-to person. And the next thing is, the next card is the Phoenix, which is the card of transformation. You have gone through so many transformations in your lifetime. Sometimes you don't pay attention to some of the changes that you've gone through, and you just go, "Oh well, yeah, that's just life." But it's another little step about where you're going and who you are and who you associate with. And as you see, as I just keep going with what I'm saying. It's not all pulling cards, and they're learning that in the class that I teach on Tuesdays too. It's just like I'll just sit there and go yada 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 and pull cards, and then have my say, and then the card that I pull will be the one that is what I just said. So anyway, things are going to get intense for you. They're going to really pick up speed, and when they start moving forward, don't let yourself be the outsider. You can step right into that intensity, but sometimes you have the will of wanting to step back and just watch for a while before stepping into something, which is okay. They're saying just go with the moment, as it's presented to you. Go with the moment, and that way you can master your own situation, which means that you can figure things out. You can look at what's going on, and then decide what to do with it, and then go back to regular life. The card is ordinariness, so go back to regular life as to what you want to do. Don't let anybody control your decisions of what you want to do, where you go, because you tend to, when you get into the mood to do something, you tend to do it, put your total self into it, and other people might look at that and go, hey, why don't you just step back a second and let somebody else do it, or let me do it instead. But you have given yourself totally into a situation. You don't need to have somebody else try and control you, because you feel guided to do something, and listen to that guidance. Listen to that inner guidance, okay? And what it does is it brings new beginnings, a rebirth, which means a reinvention of your inner self and what you are doing and what you are presenting to the world. The next card is the Lovers, and this one is, and I'm getting that your main lover is spirit. Your main lover is spirit. And they're putting that out there, that it doesn't matter about the human lovers, because they're boasting now. They're boasting because we are the better lovers, that we love you unconditionally, and through all situations we will be there and not walk away from you. So, wow, they've got yeah. Okay. They're proud of themselves. Okay, so let's see. They're also saying that there's going to be a lot of different stories being told to you. They consider them myths, so you have to take and use some discernment with that, what people say, and watch for the red flags. Watch for the red flags with. One of my cats is talking in the other room. So watch what they have to say, because when you use your discernment, you can walk away from. Is that even one of my cats? Jeez. Okay. Sorry, I've got background noise going on, but there's going to be temptation with that. So, and they're still going along the lines here. When people try and tell you stories, they will try and tempt you to do something that you do not want to do. Look for the signs, look for the red flags, and then excuse yourself, walk away and say, okay, thank you. I need to think about it. I need to walk away for a minute, and then you'll find that you'll be able to look at the whole situation with a different light. It's years ago, I was in a situation with my then husband where we were being really pressured by salesmen. And it's got to be today. It's got to be in this hour. It's got to, otherwise we can't hold this special, yada, yada, yada. And it's just like we looked at each other, and he's getting ready to cave. And I'm going, no, we're going to go to coffee and we're going to discuss it. And the thing is when I got him away from there, all that pressure, all the energy of the person that was trying to sell us something released. And he could see that it wasn't going to be a good idea. So it's basically when people put pressure on you, take a few minutes to walk away from it and get away from that energy. And if you have to, just take the risk and say, you know what, I'm not feeling good right now, or I have something else I need to do. I've got another appointment, and just walk away from that energy. And you'll find that after spending some time away from it, that it no longer affects you. So they said take the risk to do that. Because if you don't, the next card is sorrow. You'll be sorry if you don't. So. Okay. Wow. that was a change in decks, which meant that was another whole opinion. So you've had 3 opinions come in, so they've changed three decks, and they're going into a 4th now. So we've got another whole opinion on something else here. So you're getting a good-sized reading today, just because I can. They said your inner peace with spirit is where they show you the love. Okay. Then so these are not the boastful lover ones you had a few minutes ago. This is something else. They're saying when you have that inner peace, spirit is present, the love is there to keep you calm. And they're saying we are also in your dreams. It's a beautiful deck. And we also know what your will is, your will and your goals, your wishes, your desires. And we also see what needs to be released. Understand that sometimes we go through the storms. And when we go through the storms, we get to know ourselves a little bit better and how we react and what we do. And know that when you have those storms and you learn about who you really are, that is the initiation into going to another level. The next card is prayer. It means talk with spirit. If you have any concerns or questions about it, they said we are more than glad to answer you. And know that sometimes we will answer you through sound, through sounds of nature, through sounds of music, through sounds of the words that pass you on the street. And that is how we will answer you. Okay. Thank you, Renee, for being brave enough to call in.
And thank you, and tell all your spirits I love you a lot. I'm very excited I got to talk to everybody, too.
Okay. All righty.
And thank you so much. You have a wonderful weekend coming up. Many blessings to you.
And many blessings to you. And next week we will see you all again. If you wish to contact me, it's at nancy@sanctuaryofsacredspace.com.
You're listening to AchieveRadio.com. A new drummer for a new awakening.